Hi folks, this is Kwabena of OpenMV, and today I'm going to be talking about a new great feature that we're about to release called Wi-Fi Debugging. So for the longest, we've been trying to enable Wi-Fi debug support on the OpenMV Cam. It's always been a challenge though because our firmware was written in a very single-threaded mode, and so we weren't able to achieve any level of good performance with Wi-Fi debugging going on in the background. We've recently been updating a lot of things on the firmware, and we finally got triple buffering and double buffering with the camera image capture working, which unlocks us to have the Wi-Fi shield operating in the background now without stealing performance from the image capture driver. Anyway, this feature was we tried to release this feature about 3 years ago and it never worked quite well. And so we finally got back to it, and now we have really good Wi-Fi debugging support operational, and so I'm going to show that off in this video today. So how do we turn on Wi-Fi debugging support? Well, it's actually been in the IDE for about 3 years. It's underneath Configure OpenMV Cam settings file under Tools when you're connected to the OpenMV Cam. So if you go and click that, you'll see an option to turn the Wi-Fi shield on startup, and you can choose between client mode or access point mode. In client mode, the OpenMV Cam is going to connect to your wireless network, and in access point mode, it will become a wireless network that allows one client, i.e. your computer, to connect to it. So, for client mode, all you need to do is put in a SSID, so the network name, and then a password, and when the OpenMV Cam turns on, it'll try to connect to that network. Finally, you need to specify what type of security you want to use. And for my network name, unfortunately, I have to show that in this video. That is just a joke that my college roommate put in, and that's been going on ever since I've been using the same router for a long time now. Anyway, once you do that, you can type in your board name, and so the board name that I like to use is the OpenMV Cam H7 Plus. That's what I'm using for testing, but if you were in a competition level environment, a classroom, a place where a lot of different people were using OpenMV IDE at the same time and sharing a Wi-Fi network, you'd probably want to put different names there, like the user's name for their camera. The way we built this protocol out, it works via a UDP broadcast message that basically broadcasts the camera is alive, and here's what its IP address is, and this is the name that it has, and then OpenMV IDE will give you an option to connect to that camera. It's not secured, there's no password, there's nothing preventing two people from connecting to the same camera, but we wanted to make it simple, and so we didn't want to get into how do we make sure that these two areas are encrypted and going with passwords and then doing proper password security. That would have made this very complicated on the first go around and first try. As this protocol becomes more mature and we see more people using this, we're going to think about those kind of security options. But for right now, it's just about getting the performance up and getting it working. Anyway, once you save that file to your OpenMV Cam, you're going to want to reset the OpenMV Cam, and then at that point then it'll turn on and attach to the network. Note that during this time the camera will turn on a white LED, and it may take it about 5 to 10 seconds before it gets the IP address in the network the first time. I'm not sure what's going on there exactly, other than the WinC shield itself typically takes a couple seconds to connect to the Wi-Fi network on its first power on. Once the power is maintained though, it typically can reconnect pretty quickly. Anyway, so let's show how that works. So let's disconnect from the OpenMV Cam right now. And if the Wi-Fi shield is running, you're going to see this option for a little Wi-Fi symbol down there. And so you're just going to click that, and that tells you the OpenMV Cam is now found on the wireless network. And we can see the name we put in, OpenMV Cam H7 Plus. We see the IP address, and we also see the port we're going to use. And we can click OK. And at that point, OpenMV IDE is now connected wirelessly. And so we click Run. And right now, though, all the packets are moving over the Wi-Fi network instead of the USB cable. And so this makes the OpenMV Cam much more mobile at this point, because you no longer need a USB cable to connect to it. And so this is a full debug experience. You have the image transport, the ability to send scripts, and the serial terminal. And at some point we're going to add the ability to type into the serial terminal. And at that point, you pretty much have everything you need over Wi-Fi. Note that the one thing you do not have over Wi-Fi is the connection to the drive. So if you're this right down there, that's because the camera is still attached via USB, and so you can actually use the Wi-Fi debug while the camera is on USB. but once you go mobile, though, you're not going to be able to drag and drop files to it anymore. And let me show off going mobile. So I have a little LiPo battery here, and I'm just going to plug that into the OpenMV Cam, right on the bottom of it. And so we just do that, and now the camera is powered via LiPo battery. And so we can remove the camera, and we are mobile now. Sweet. And so let me just talk loudly so you can hear me. But we're just going to go on a tour around my studio, and it's pretty tiny, but we only have a little bit of ways to walk. But as you can see, the OpenMV Cam is able to transmit packets, and I've walked more than 10 feet away, and it's able to, still record the video that I'm talking about and get that back to OpenMV IDE. And so with this feature now, you can finally make competition level robotics. You can get your OpenMV Cam out there. Hopefully things are opening back up in your country. At least in America, we're getting a little bit of that. And you can get your OpenMV Cam back into competition, have people interacting with each other, but now wirelessly and remotely. Anyway, that's the new feature, and it's pretty awesome. So let me just put this back on USB. And so I just plugged the OpenMV Cam back into USB, and I actually unplugged the LiPo battery. And as you can see, the handoff happened pretty seamlessly. And now the OpenMV Cam is running remotely. Pretty sweet. Anyway, so that's the new feature, and hopefully this will allow you to do a lot of new cool things with your OpenMV Cam. Now you're no longer tied to having it being plugged in via USB. And as demand becomes, and as we see demand for the Arduino Portenta, we're going to add the same feature to it also, and it has a much better and stronger and faster Wi-Fi driver that we can hit a much higher bandwidth on. And so we hope to be able to really show off what we can do with the OpenMV Cam there. Same for being able to debug over Ethernet. And so these features are going to be coming to your OpenMV Cam shortly. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.